look at this thing. I mean, I just want to start it out. Look, this is the Jones Mind Expander. It basically takes that surf rocker that we loved with the, the Storm Chaser, but gave it a little more. It feels like it takes like the Storm Chaser's rocker and takes a little bit of that, that hovercraft look, kind of more of a hovercraft, more flagship kind of shape, and combines them together. And look at this rocker. I mean, this is really like surf rocker. You can see there's rocker off the tail, a little bit of flat. Basically, the flat, it's almost like feels like it's continuous rocker, but it definitely doesn't feel like this as much off the chair that you would think. There's a little bit of flat between the inserts, almost to the inserts, but for the most part, it's a surf rocker. And while it's pretty boring on groomers, and unfortunately, that's all I got with this. But I did ride the Storm Chaser in about 1.5 feet, 2 feet of powder, and could just tell its superior floatability. And it wasn't 2 feet of like brilliant Utah and Colorado snow. It was thick, ugly Sierra snow, and 2 feet there can feel like 5 feet out in the pretty places in the West. This felt like, it just had, where I was trying other boards that day too, the Storm Chaser just floated. So if you take this, give it a bigger shape, give it more tail and more nose, and just, or not more nose, but just, more tail, bigger size, same kind of surf rocker. I just know, and you just look at this rocker. I mean, with your in the inserts here, that is just so much rocker. It's like an inch, when you're, maybe even more when you're getting off tail here. Wait a sec. Just like your average board doesn't have, that's like 2.5, almost 2.5 inches at the nose from here. So you've got so much float. It's nuts. And so, and it wasn't that bad on groomers. I'd definitely rather be out in a hovercraft or any kind of board with camber. I would have loved to have seen this board with camber between the feet, and then just a little more aggressive rocker and camber to pass the back insert. So this could be a really fun groomer board as well. But hey, you've got the hovercraft if you want a surf shape, something that floats like a champ in powder, almost as well as this, but still, rides groomers incredibly well. Where I'd much rather be out in the hovercraft. This is doable, but this is more of a pure powder board, and it kind of feels like a, it kind of reminds me of that like Capita Spring Break powder line, where they're just kind of boring on groomers, but man, they are super special in powder, and they're super recommendable. If you want just powder and only powder, and you're willing to spend the kind of money you have to spend to get a board like that, and you have a good free ride board, or like a surf shape, or if you have a hovercraft, or if you have a flagship or something else already, or a Jones Mountain Twin, but you just want to get super surfy on powder, there aren't many boards out there that we found that will be as good as this type of board. And like I said, rode the Storm Chaser in powder, couldn't believe how well it floated. So after riding this and getting to know its personality, I know it's going to be, I'd prefer this over the Storm Chaser. And I want to get this, I want to own it, I want to be on it, I want to be in powder, deep powder with it. And just my luck, I'm reviewing this a season before you see it. I'm going to probably get this, and then it's going to be a shitty season. I'm not going to get a single day on it. That's one of the risks you take with buying boards like these, where, a lot of the surf shapes and free ride boards still excel in groomers. So it's risky, but man, if you're one of those people who's looking for a heliboarding day, or you just know you're going to get it deep, you're off to Japan or some shit like that, you know, you lucky fuckers. You know, this is the kind of board you want to bring with you, and if you can afford it. If you're a quiver rider like me, this is a great board to have in your quiver. You can also see it's got, you know, just all black with a little splash of Jones logo on the top, so you can repair this pretty well. And with so much rocker, it's going to be very difficult to hit this spot. And even though this is a die cut, it's done so well. You can also kind of see the curvature on the top. It's got that same kind of curve going on as you know, like the hovercraft and the flagship. It's lifted as well as rockered. It's lifted on the sides or on the nose up here, so it definitely has more of a boat feel. It has much better powder displacement. So man, this is just a super floaty, surfy, tapered ride. Let's talk about something here, because I mean, when you look at all this rocker, it really doesn't matter about setback on board compared to setback on side cut. But with a reference stance, you're looking at about 22. And this is the 154, I believe. Or 156, 54, 56. I think it's a 54. Yeah, 54. So then set all the way back with traditional bindings, you're looking at only 21 and a quarter. So, you know, for me, I'd be further up. But just on that 21 and a quarter, yeah, I wouldn't be able to get this far back, but it's just a little more than 24. It's about 62 and a half centimeters. And then it's just about 14 and a half. So what did I say? Yeah, 24, just a little more than 24 and a half. So it's almost 10 inches back on board, which is really far back. It's not super, lately I've seen some crazy surf shapes that are so far back. It's unreal. But this is way more than your average free ride board. And this is a pure powder board. It's, you know, this is a demo model, so it's not pretty, but it is pure powder. It just, that's what it's all about. Get this, if you get this knowing that, and mainly only ride it in powder, you're gonna be so happy. If you want a board that you can also use really well on groomers, then, you know, you probably wanna lean more towards like the hovercraft or the flagship. But there you have it. That's, you know, Mind Expander. I can't wait for it to expand my mind on a deep day.